from the perspective of a common person, and from the perspective of somebody who has been a civil servant, who has been who has been in professional civil service, and who has been a professional working over the last 42 years in the public life. So it's just a common person's perspective I want to provide. There are 4 things which to my mind are outstanding, which have significantly changed so far as yoga is concerned in the recent years. The first is that yoga has been now mainstreamed. It has been mainstreamed in our lives. I remember as a school, when I was studying in the school as a school student, this was hardly there. One did not see much, but yes, occasionally early morning one would see some very pious looking person or a group of persons in some park doing yoga. So one was quite amused as to what these people are doing. I used to also watch and observe and try to find out what they were doing. So it was that kind of, it had that kind of a very limited following. And to be honest, those days I was in school, but then in the upper classes you are sufficiently grown up to understand things and observe how people react and how people look at things. So I think the understanding of yoga, the interest that people showed in yoga was very, very limited. But over the years, yoga has spread its influence, and particularly in the recent years, I must say that yoga has been mainstreamed in our lives. Today you find large organizations, you find companies, you find housing societies, you find, in large number of places people are observing yoga. Sometimes when you are traveling in a flight or you are traveling in a train or something, you find people just closing their eyes and sort of just taking some deep breath. And so the first thing that has happened in the recent years with yoga, I think it has been mainstreamed into our lives. The second thing is that yoga has now gone international. It has spread far and wide, and during my travel, which as a part of my work when I travel to various countries, I have seen how yoga learning, yoga teaching institutions have come up there, and it is run by, in many cases, run by people of Indian origin, but in large number of cases it is run by both men and women belonging to those countries who have come to India, spent a year or two, who have learned and have gone back and disseminated it. Shri Suresh Prabhuji mentioned about G20. I can share that when I was G20 Sherpa, and that was during the Argentinian presidency, and we were just morning we were having breakfast before the meetings. We were having breakfast in our hotel, and then I was generally chatting with the hotel staff, the local people that and they were very happy to see that we were from India. So some of them who had some idea about India, they came and started chatting with me. And one of their staff mentioned, I am forgetting the exact number, but he said that you will not believe that in Buenos Aires alone, there are more than 50 yoga training centers available. And this is, he said, this is being run by, in some cases by people who have come from India, but in many cases by the local, youngsters, the boys and girls, who have gone, youngsters in their 30s or 40s, who have gone to India, spent 1 or 2 years, learnt yoga, and have come back and are teaching. And you see this all over the world. I just gave one example. And I think the climax was when the United Nations accepted yoga as, they decided to celebrate the International Day of Yoga on June 21st. I think now every year it is being celebrated in the premises of the United Nations in New York. It is being celebrated within India, all over the country. It is being celebrated in all Indian embassies abroad. Indian embassies in almost every country, they organize major yoga events, and within India we see them organized in every major city. There are events which are being held. So second point, as I mentioned, is that yoga has really gone international. Now, why it has gone international, why it has found so much acceptance? I think again, if I can draw upon what Sri Suresh Prabhuji mentioned, life has become very complex, life has become very challenging, with so many things happening all around. Sometimes it is a virus, sometimes it's a war, sometimes it is some financial stress in our own lives, in lives of countries, in lives of societies. Life has become very complex and very stressful. So therefore, a kind of a style of living, a practice, or a philosophy, I don't know what you should call. Yoga is a philosophy, yoga is a style of living, it's a kind of wellness, it embodies the whole human life, the body, mind and the spirit. I think in today's world, what yoga has brought about is, and that is why yoga is important, and that is the third point I wanted to mention, that yoga is something like, in any device, in any electronic device, usually there is a reset button. When things go wrong, you have opened too many apps and you have lost your way. So you have to reset. There is a reset button. So you press the reset button and then everything is back to normal, things fall into place, and then you can start your exercise, whatever you are doing, afresh. So I think yoga is something like that. I don't know whether it's an appropriate analogy, but the way I was just thinking about, it's like you, in our complicated lives, amidst so many challenges and other things which we face, it's a kind of a reset button, and whereby you sort of bring everything together.